Joe Calero, the head coach up there, he's a blast to cover, and he's all about the attention and the excitement. And I know that he likes that, and they had a great player in Eversley last year, and it was a fun ride. I was excited for them because that's a team that was a real hard-working team, and part of the reason why they were able to have that success, they simply didn't turn the ball over. So maybe did they have the best shooters? Did they have the most athletic guys on the floor? No, but they protected the basketball, and it worked for them for 3 nights, and it got them into the tournament where they won what they like to call the first-round game, which is pretty much like the play-in game, but they got a conference victory, or they got a win in the tournament, which gave a little extra moolah to the university and the conference.
Yeah, they used that moolah to get a new court design along with a lot of the other Big West schools as well. Let's talk a little more Mustang basketball. They lose Chris Eversley, like you mentioned. He was a stud at the forward position. He graduated. But they bring back a lot of young, talented guys like Ridge Shipley, who had his coming-out game in that win against Northridge to send Cal Poly to the NCAA tournament. Guys like David Nwaba, who's now a senior, Reese Morgan. Trent, is this a team in your mind that can go back to the NCAA tournament this season, or was last season just kind of a fluke?
I would be really surprised to see the Mustangs back in the NCAA tournament. Now, I'm really high on Nwaba. He's a very good player. Rich Shipley's a good shooter, but again, just a sophomore. He hit the one big shot in the conference championship game. It does have a way to go and a way to improve. So Nwaba's going to be kind of carrying the load for Cal Poly. Like, this is a team that I think needs to enjoy the success they had last year. This year could be a struggle for them, not because this is a team that's down, but because the conference is so good this year. Look, I was at UC Riverside last week, and I really like the play of their team. And they have a new guard, Jalen Bland, who's going to be outstanding for them. So Cal Poly is a team that I think could have a tough time in conference this year, but because they have that experience and they protect the basketball, anything can happen.
Well, yeah, exactly. You never know what head coach Joe Calero has up his sleeve. Switching gears now, UC Irvine, they made an appearance in the NIT. They lost to Larry Brown and SMU, or SMU, as I like to call them. Russ Turner and the Anteaters, once again, the preseason favorite to win it all in the Big West. They still have big 7'6" center, forward, whatever you want to call him, Mamadou Njai, along with the majority of their impact players returning. In my opinion, the Anteaters are head and shoulders above the rest of the conference heading into the season. Is this the year that the Anteaters, for the first time in school history, finally make it to the NCAA tournament, or is something going to be in their way?
No, this is UC Irvine, I think, is going to get in this year, and you're right. They are head and shoulders above everybody else. Look, their fifth option, Dominic Dunning, would probably be the second or third best player on any other team in the Big West, and he's the fifth option for UCI. They are just so good. I mean, guys like Alex Young and Will Davis, they get overlooked because they have Mamadou, who gets a lot of hype. Luke Nelson was the freshman of the year last year. He's your point guard, and he's an outstanding player. So I really like the Anteaters. I saw them on Saturday, and they can play. I'm really impressed by them, and they have a lot of depth too. So they're a team that can go 7, 8, 9 deep, and it's like having a starting five at any other conference, any other team in the Big West. So I really like UC Irvine, and this is a team that I think if they are able to get some quality wins in non-conference, even if they don't win in the tournament, maybe this is a year where they're going to get 2 teams from the Big West to get in because Irvine is that good. They're going to play at Arizona next week. That's going to be a tough game. Winnable games after that, at St. Mary's, at Loyola Marymount, Fresno State, and Oregon. All road games for them, but if they can win 2 or 3 of those games, they could be in real good shape. They also play Bradley in Vegas, which is a team that they could have on a neutral court. It's going to be more like a home game for UCI. That could be a quality win for them. And then at New Mexico State before the year starts, the way their schedule sets up, if they can get some of those wins in marquee places, those are tough games for them, but winnable games for this Irvine team. This is a team that looks like a mid-major poised to make a Cinderella-esque run. I'm not the only one that thinks like this because it's all over the press. USA Today has agreed and says kind of those same things. Irvine, the Anteaters, they are good.
Perhaps Irvine, one of the best Big West teams we've seen in the last couple of seasons on paper, but now they got to go out on the court and show it. I'll be very interested to see what they look like in the next couple of weeks when they take on Arizona and LMU and St. Mary's, some of the schools that you mentioned on their non-conference slate. Trent, this is the Long Beach State men's basketball show, so let's talk some Long Beach State basketball. Disappointing past couple of seasons for the Beach. Last summer, there were a few key players dismissed from the roster back in 2013, which definitely affected the results you saw on the court last season. Mid-season, of course, Tyler Lamb, the UCLA transfer, he becomes eligible. Long Beach State, they knock off USC at home. And a lot of us thought the day was saved, but it was not. Long Beach, of course, as we all know, lost to Cal State Northridge in the conference tournament semifinal game and didn't participate in any type of postseason tournament for the first time since 2010. This season, the Beach expected to be a much improved ball club, though. Sure, they lose Dan Jennings due to graduation. A.J. Spencer, unfortunately for him and unfortunately for the team, he tore his ACL. He's out for the season. They'll throw a red shirt on him. He'll be eligible to play in his senior season next year for Long Beach State. But in comes Eric McKnight, a transfer from Florida Gulf Coast, better known as Dunk City, as well as four-stud freshmen Jack Williams, Justin Bibbins, Deontay North, Temadayo Yusuf. Munson puts together the toughest non-conference schedule in the universe again, yet all of us in 49er land feel cautiously optimistic about the season ahead. Trent, you still with us?
Yeah, I thought I lost you for a second. No, I'm excited about Long Beach State this year. Look, if there's going to be one team that can maybe give – there's really two teams in my mind that can give UC Irvine a run. It's Long Beach State and UC Santa Barbara. For Long Beach State to be Mike Caffey coming back, who in my opinion is the best guard in the Big West. Tyler Lamb complements him really well. And this is a recruiting class that is getting a ton of hype. It was funny, I talked to Coach Munson earlier this summer, and I asked him, okay, how does this group compare to like Casper Ware's class when they came through, and remember all those elite players? He goes, well, the only thing similar about them is because there were four of them, and they have a lot of talent. They're really good. I'm very curious to see how they're going to fit in and what the adjustment process will be like for so many new players at Long Beach State. But anytime you have a guy like Mike Caffey leading the way, Long Beach can be really good this year. And look, Coach is only 4 wins away from passing or either tying or passing Jerry Tarkanian for the all-time wins in Long Beach State basketball history. That may not happen until conference play, but I think even if Long Beach State only wins 1 or 2 games in non-conference play, still don't worry because the teams that you are playing are so tough and so good. They should beat San Francisco State. Maybe they win a game with the Wooden Legacy, and they have Fresno Pacific at home before it's all over. And then, so maybe you have those 3 wins, and then if you could somehow win one of those other games, I think it could set up for a very, very exciting conference season. And then they start conference play at UC Irvine. What a marquee matchup that's going to be on January 8th.
Yeah, a lot of question marks surrounding Long Beach State this season. Will they be able to compete with the big dogs? Of course, we don't even need to go over every single team on the non-conference schedule, but right off the bat, Xavier, UCLA, BYU, who they open up with, Louisville, Texas, just to name a few, including that Wooden Legacy tournament over Thanksgiving weekend. Trent, this season might not be the only thing to look forward to, though. Obviously, like I mentioned, you'd expect the freshmen, the 4 studs, Williams, Bibbins, North, and Yusuf, to stick around for all 4 seasons. You don't really typically see, Big West basketball players leave early for the NBA. Travis Hammonds, Branford Jones, you throw them into the mix as well, talking about next season. Not to get too ahead of ourselves, but in 2015, Long Beach State has another fine recruiting class coming in, and don't forget about Maryland transfer Nick Faust, USC transfer Roshan Prince, and Marquette transfer Gabe Levin. This is a Long Beach State program that is trying to become the next Gonzaga, Butler, San Diego State. I mean, you get the point. They want to be a mid-major powerhouse. And on paper, I would think, and I don't know if you agree with me on this, it looks like they're heading in that direction.
They're doing that, and Coach Munson knows how to do that before. He is why Gonzaga is Gonzaga. He built that in the late 90s, early 2000s. So look, if anybody knows how to do this, it's Dan Munson, and he's put together a really good group here. He's got that extension, so he has some security of his own, knowing that he's going to be around for a little while to do this. Look, next year when you lose who could be the player of the year in the Big West and Mike Caffey, that's a lot to leave your team, but with what they've built, they're bringing in some quality transfers. And part of the deal is when you bring in that many transfers, part of you understands, as a coach, I think, that not all of them are going to pan out because they did leave their other teams for whatever reason. Maybe they didn't gel, and you hope that doesn't affect your team. So there is that risk with taking those transfers. But at the same time, when you get the upside of what these guys can bring, they can be extremely good. Long Beach State has a number of different options of guys that can do that, and I really like what could become of the beach down the road.
Trent Schlom of the Big West on ESPN3 joining us here on the Long Beach State men's basketball season preview show. Trent, let's get away from the beautiful city of Long Beach. Let's get away from the mainland. What in the world is going on over there in Hawaii?
That is a question that I think a lot of people would like an answer to. I don't know that anybody that, even with the Big West, people that are involved in it every day, if you ask Gil Arnold, he's not totally sure what's going on over there. So I think that right now it's a mess. Benji Taylor has a lot to clean up and a lot to take care of at Hawaii to keep that fan base happy. But the good news for them is they get to stay close to home for a long time in non-conference play. But then when the season comes around, it's going to be tough for them to try to get by in the Big West Conference. Look, to lose Isaac Fotu and your head coach and one of your top assistants, they have a lot to overcome this year. But Garrett Neville's a great player. They have the Missouri transfer, Negus Webster-Chan, who comes in. A lot of other guys too. But part of the problem for Hawaii last year really was that they weren't that deep. They would only go five. And that starting five would be on the floor together for 33 to 34 minutes a game. So the bench that does come back doesn't have a whole lot of in-game experience. There's going to be a lot on Aaron Valdez to try to step up for Hawaii. Look, I think Hawaii has the players that they can be good and they can compete in the Big West, but losing Isaac Fotu is a huge blow. And if they can be a team that can stay together and get through this, they can be all right, but that is a big, big if.
Final couple of questions for you here, Trent. What's your overall breakdown of the conference from top to bottom? I know we talked about Long Beach, obviously. You just got done talking about Hawaii. We talked a little bit about Irvine and Cal Poly, the defending champs in the Big West. What about a Northridge team that knocked off Long Beach? You talked about how you were at a UC Riverside practice last week. UC Davis, they bring back Hawkins. Jim Les is still a pretty good head coach up there. Let's not forget about UCSB. Big Al Williams, he's supposed to be a force to reckon with again in his senior season. I mean, what is the conference going to look like, in your opinion, from top to bottom? I know we kind of already disclosed that we both think that UC Irvine, this is their year to finally get to the tournament. But might we see another sleeper that not too many people are talking about that comes out of nowhere to grab that automatic NCAA tournament berth come mid-March at the Honda Center?
Well, of course, UC Irvine is the team, and I think they are easily the clear-cut experience for them, and then going up to Alaska and playing the Great Alaskan Shootout. Then they have a trip up in Oregon. They're playing tough teams too, so credit to Santa Barbara for that. But this is a team that I really, really like. Probably number two only to UC Irvine. Long Beach State is number three after that, and to me, it's those three teams that are in a different class of the Big West. I really think that there are tiers in the Big West, and those three are in the top tier in this conference. After that, it's really tough to say. I think UC Davis could be a surprise team bringing Hawkins back. And look, they had so many injuries last year. So many different players were out for them that they are going to have returning. And Denver Lay is going to be back. He was so good for UC Davis 2 years ago. And Jim Less's son, Tyler, who was a redshirt last year, he's going to be back this year. And I think that UC Davis could be a team to surprise a lot of people, maybe get into the 4 spot in the conference. I think CSUN I had at 5, I think I'm going to keep them there just because we don't know exactly what's going on with some of the NCAA situation going on up there. They do have a number of players suspended. I'm actually not sure which players are suspended. I haven't been up there yet, but I know that there are some things that they're still trying to deal with and making sure everything's okay for their season, and a lot of that is looming and pending for CSUN.